Welcome to my channel. My name is Marcus Reed, and if you are here right now, late at night, or perhaps in the early hours of the morning, or somewhere in the quiet middle of a sleepless afternoon, then I want you to know that you are in exactly the right place. Tonight, I am going to tell you a story. Not a story with heroes and battles and dramatic twists. No. This is a different kind of story. This is the kind of story that exists only to carry you gently, slowly, peacefully into sleep. Tonight, we are going to ancient Rome, the quiet Rome, the soft Rome, the Rome of warm cobblestones and murmuring fountains and bread baking in clay ovens before the sun has even thought about rising. Before we begin, I want to ask you something. Down in the comments below, tell me where in the world you are watching from tonight, and tell me what time it is there. I always love knowing that people from so many different corners of the world are falling asleep to these stories at the very same moment. Someone in London, someone in Karachi, someone in Sao Paulo, someone in a small, quiet town whose name I have never heard. All of us, together, in the dark, listening to the same story. So drop your city and your time in the comments. It means a great deal to me to see them in the morning. And now, close your eyes. Take one slow breath in and let it go. Let us begin. Section 1. Imagine it is the very deepest part of the night. Not late evening, not early morning. The true middle of the night. That particular hour that belongs to no one, when the world has gone silent.
As quiet as it ever gets. You are standing on a hillside above the city of Rome. Below you, spreading in every direction as far as you can see, the city sleeps. Thousands of rooftops, close together, overlapping, a sea of terracotta and stone and timber, all of it bathed in the soft silver light of a nearly full moon. The 7 hills of Rome rise and fall against the dark sky. The Tiber River catches the moonlight along its curves, a long, slow ribbon of pale light moving through the middle of it all. The city is breathing. You can feel it even from up here. That particular quality of a sleeping place. Not truly silent, never truly silent, but resting. The fountains are still running. They never stop. You can hear them if you listen carefully. A dozen different trickles and murmurs rising from a dozen different places across the city, blending into something that sounds almost like the city talking to itself in its sleep. Somewhere far below, a dog barks once, then is quiet. A lamp burns in a single window. Everything else is still. The air up here on the hill is cool and clean. It smells of stone and laurel, and the dry, sweet smell of grass that has been warm all day and is now releasing that warmth slowly into the night. You take a breath and hold it for a moment. Let it go. Your body is already beginning to relax. You begin to walk down the hill. The path is narrow and worn smooth by countless feet before yours. Your sandals find their footing easily, the stone familiar under your feet, even though you have never walked this path before. There is that quality about Rome, that everything feels slightly familiar. As if you have been here before, in some other life. As if these streets are written into something deeper than memory. The path winds down through a small grove of trees. Ilex oaks, their leaves small and dark and glossy in the moonlight, their trunks pale silver. The leaves stir very slightly,
in a breath of air too gentle to be called a breeze. Just a movement, just the night breathing. You emerge from the grove, and the city opens up before you. The first street you walk onto is narrow and paved with large, irregular stones fitted together with extraordinary precision. They have been worn smooth over centuries of use, their surfaces polished by countless feet and countless rains into something almost beautiful. In the moonlight, they are silver and gray and very slightly luminous, as if they are giving back the light they have absorbed during the long, warm day. The buildings on either side rise close and tall. 2 stories, 3 stories, their upper floors jutting slightly out over the street as if leaning in to listen to something. The walls are plastered and painted, though in the darkness you cannot make out the colors. Shutters are closed on every window. Behind some of them, the very faintest warm glow of a lamp burning low. You walk slowly. There is a quality to empty nighttime streets that is unlike anything else, a kind of amplified presence, as if the absence of people makes the place itself more visible, more real. The stones, the walls, the doorways, the small stone gutters running along each side of the street, all of it more there, somehow, in the quiet. At a corner, you find the first fountain of the night. It is small, a neighborhood fountain, nothing grand.
A carved stone basin set into the wall of the building at the corner, with a simple spout from which water pours in a steady, thin stream into the basin below. The sound of it in the quiet street is extraordinary. Not loud, not dramatic, just constant and clear and deeply, deeply calming. You stop and listen to it. Just listen. The water falls into the basin, and the sound of it changes slightly as the basin fills and the depth of the water changes. There are harmonics in it if you listen carefully. Multiple tones layering over each other. A chord of water sound that shifts and breathes and never quite repeats. You sit on the stone ledge beside the fountain and let the sound fill you. Your shoulders drop. Jaw unclenches. The back of your neck softens. The water pours and the night holds still around you, and the moon moves imperceptibly westward overhead. And you sit in the middle of all of it and simply breathe. After a long time, you get up and walk on. The street you follow winds slightly, following the natural contour of the hill beneath the city. Roman streets were not always perfectly straight. In the older parts of the city, they followed the land, following old paths, old tracks, the ways that feet had naturally chosen before anyone thought to pave them. There is something pleasant about a street that bends, something that suggests the city was not planned, but grew organically, the way a tree grows, finding its shape in response to everything around it. You pass a doorway from which comes the very faint smell of animals, a stable or a pen for livestock. The warm animal smell is not unpleasant. It is ancient. It belongs to a world
in which animals and people lived in close proximity, in which the city was not separated from the natural world, but woven through with it. Further along, a courtyard wall from behind which comes the smell of a garden, green and slightly damp, something flowering, something whose perfume is stronger at night, opening in the darkness the way some flowers do. You slow your pace without meaning to. You simply want to stay near that smell a little longer. The night is very beautiful. The moon is high now, directly overhead, and the shadows in the street have shrunk to small dark pools at the bases of the walls. The whole street is bathed in that flat, clean, silver light that only a full moon can make. A light that turns the ordinary world into something from a dream. Or perhaps tonight, it is the other way around. Perhaps you are in the dream, and the world you came from is the ordinary one. You walk deeper into the city, following no particular route, letting the streets choose you rather than choosing them. Left here because the sound of another fountain draws you that way. Right here because the street opens slightly and the moonlight is particularly beautiful on the stones ahead. The city breathes around you. You breathe with it. In and out. In and out. Your footsteps are the only sound.
The first light of morning arrives slowly, not all at once, not with any drama, just a gradual and gentle brightening that begins at the horizon, far to the east, and spreads upward through the sky, with the patience of something that has been doing this every single day for longer than anyone can remember. The deep indigo of the nighttime sky softens first to the color of a dark plum, then to a dusty violet, then to a gray so pale it is almost white, then finally, very gradually, to the first true blue of morning. Not the bright blue of midday, a softer blue, a blue that still carries the memory of the night in it. And with the light, the city begins to move. First, just sounds. A shutter opening somewhere above you, the creak of a door, footsteps on stone somewhere around a corner, quick and purposeful, the footsteps of someone who has somewhere to be before the city is fully awake. A cart somewhere, its wooden wheels on the cobblestones making a sound that rolls and echoes between the tall buildings. Then smells. Wood smoke first, the morning fires being lit. Then water, as people begin to draw from the fountains. Then something warmer, more complex. The smell that has been rising from the bakery since long before dawn. The smell of bread in clay ovens. You follow it. The bakery, the Pistrina, is 2 streets away. You could smell it from further than that, the smell carrying through the cool morning air with extraordinary clarity. You turn a corner, and there it is, a wide, low building with a doorway open to the street, and from inside comes a warmth and a light and a smell so deeply comforting that you slow your walk without thinking, wanting to approach it slowly, wanting to make the arrival last. Inside, the baker has been at work for hours. He is a broad man, with flour on his arms to the elbows, flour in his hair, flour on his apron. He moves with the unhurried efficiency of someone who has done this every morning for 20 years. His hands know what to do. They do not require his attention. He shapes the dough with a kind of absent, expert grace. The same motions repeated over and over, each repetition identical to the last, each one producing another round of bread to go onto the ordinary kiln and into the clay oven. The oven is the heart of the room. Its mouth glows a deep orange. The heat coming from it is tremendous, a wall of warmth that you feel even standing in the doorway. But the baker does not notice it. He has long since stopped feeling it. It is simply part of the air he breathes, the warmth he lives in. The loaves that come out are perfect, round and brown and scored across the top in a wheel pattern, 8 sections, designed to be broken apart and shared. Roman bread was not a solitary food. It was something you passed to the person beside you, something that fed more than one. You watch the loaves cool on the stone counter, and you feel something that is not quite hunger, but is related to it. Something that is about warmth and safety and being fed. Something very old and very simple that lives below thought, below language, in the part of you that simply knows what is good. You breathe in the smell of the bread, and you feel your body relax another degree. The city is fully waking now. The streets fill gradually, people moving with purpose, Slaves carrying water from the fountains, merchants opening the shutters of their shops, children appearing in doorways and being sent on errands. A group of men in togas walking together, talking in low, serious voices. Lawyers, perhaps, or senators, heading toward the forum. A woman with a basket on her head, moving through the crowd with the balanced, upright grace of someone who has carried things this way since childhood. You move through it all at your own pace. There is a particular pleasure in moving slowly through a busy place, in being unhurried when everything around you has somewhere to be. It makes you feel slightly apart from the ordinary flow of things, an observer, someone for whom time is moving differently. You make your way toward the baths. The thermae are the great public bathing houses of Rome, and they are far more than simply places to wash. They are the social heart of the city, the place where Romans of all classes come together, the wealthy and the poor, the citizen and the slave, all sharing the same water, the same steam, the same warm stone. The bathhouse you enter is not the largest in the city, not the vast imperial baths that can hold thousands. This is a neighborhood bathhouse, modest by Roman standards, but still extraordinary. Its entrance is a wide arched doorway leading into a vaulted hall whose ceiling is painted deep blue and scattered with small gold stars. You stand in the entrance hall and look up at that painted ceiling and feel the warm, humid air of the baths close around you like a hand. The first room you enter is the changing room, the apodyterium, where wooden cubbies line the walls, and bathers leave their clothes and belongings. It smells of warm wood and faintly of the olive oil that Romans used to clean their skin. A few people move quietly here, folding their tunics with the practiced ease of a daily routine. From here, you pass through into the cold room, the frigidarium. The pool at its center is large and perfectly still. The water is cold and completely clear, and the light falling through the high windows above hits its surface and breaks into rippling patterns that travel across the vaulted ceiling overhead. The effect is extraordinary. Standing in this room is like standing inside a moving painting, the light constantly shifting, constantly forming and dissolving shapes on the stone above you. You do not go into the cold pool, not today. You simply sit at its edge for a moment and watch the light on the ceiling and breathe the cool, clean air. Then you move on, through the warm room, the tepidarium, where the air is moist and gentle, and the stone benches are perfectly, almost impossibly warm. This warmth comes from below, from the hypocaust, the Roman underfloor heating system, where hot air circulates beneath the raised floor and rises through hollow walls to heat the room evenly from every direction. You lie down on one of the warm stone benches. The warmth seeps up through the stone and into your body with the slow, steady certainty of something that cannot be resisted. It finds the tight places, the shoulders, the lower back, the base of the skull, and it loosens them, one by one, with patient, impersonal kindness. The ceiling above you is painted, a vast garden fresco, sky blue, leaf green, white marble, birds on painted branches, a painted fountain so realistic you almost hear it. Your eyes move slowly across the painted garden. The birds, the branches, the sky. Your eyelids grow heavy. The warmth holds you. You breathe. The afternoon comes slowly, the way afternoons in warm cities always do. The sun reaches its highest point and begins, almost imperceptibly, to begin its long descent. The light changes. It thickens slightly. The shadows, which at midday had nearly disappeared, begin to return, stretching eastward now, growing longer with each passing hour. Rome in the afternoon has a different character than Rome in the morning.
The urgency of the early hours has faded. The transactions are done, the arguments argued, the business conducted. What remains is slower, more reflective. People move through the streets with less purpose and more ease. Conversations happen at doorways. Children play in the narrow alleys between buildings. An old man sits outside his shop, doing nothing in particular, watching the street with the mild, unhurried attention of someone who has been watching streets for a very long time. You have left the baths feeling clean and loose-limbed and pleasantly heavy. You walk without direction, following whatever draws your attention. A sound, a smell, the way the light falls on a particular stretch of wall. You find yourself in a neighborhood you have not been in before. The streets here are older, narrower, the buildings more worn. The plaster on the walls has faded, and in some places fallen away entirely, revealing the ancient brick beneath, each brick placed with a care and precision that time has not diminished. This neighborhood has been lived in for a very long time. You can feel that, the weight of it, the layered presence of all the lives that have been lived in these buildings, on these streets, over these centuries. It is not a heavy feeling, not oppressive, more like the comfortable weight of a thick blanket, something that presses down gently and says, you are not
alone here. Many people have stood exactly where you are standing. Many people have looked at exactly what you are looking at. The world has been witnessed here before. An old woman sits in a doorway, spinning wool. Her hands work automatically, without looking, the spindle turning and dropping, and the thread growing longer with each rotation. She has been doing this since she was a girl. The motions are so familiar, they have become part of her body, woven into the muscle and the bone. She does not think about them any more than she thinks about breathing. You slow your pace as you pass her. Watch her hands for a moment. The spindle turns. The thread grows. Something about the rhythm of it is deeply calming. The same motion, over and over, producing something from nothing, making something useful and continuous out of raw material and simple repetition. Back and forth, over and under. You walk on through a small market, through a square where children are playing a game with a ball made of wound leather, through a covered walkway where a painter is at work on a mural, his back to you, his brush moving with small, precise strokes across the white plaster of the wall. You stop and watch him work. The mural is nearly finished. It shows a garden, the classic Roman garden fresco, trees and birds, and a distant suggestion of hills beyond an imaginary wall. The painter is working on a bird now, a small thrush perched on the uppermost branch of a painted laurel tree. He works from a small pot of dark paint, his brush making tiny marks, each one adding a feather, a shadow, a suggestion of texture. The thrush emerges from nothing, mark by mark, and becomes real. Or as real as a painted bird can be, which tonight, in this light, in this drowsy afternoon, feels real enough. You move through the residential streets, past the tall apartment buildings, the insulae, where most Romans live. These buildings are 6 and 7 stories tall, their upper floors rented by the poor and the struggling, their ground floors occupied by shops and workshops. Laundry hangs between the upper windows on lines strung across the narrow gaps between buildings. From the open windows come the sounds of domestic life. A woman singing quietly, the sound of a pot against a stone, children arguing, then laughing. Life happening in its ordinary way, at its ordinary pace. You emerge from the residential streets into a wider space, the Circus Maximus. Even empty
It is overwhelming in its scale. The great oval of the track stretches before you, a quarter-mile long, flanked on both sides by the steeply tiered stone seating that rises higher than any building you have seen. The seating is empty now. The track is empty. But the scale of the place, the sheer size of it, reminds you of what it was designed to hold. Not just 250,000 people, though it held those, but something larger. Collective excitement. Shared breath. The particular electricity of a vast crowd united in a single moment of attention. You walk down to the track level and step onto the packed earth of the race surface. You stand in the middle of it. The emptiness around you is enormous. You look up at the tiers of empty stone seats and try to hold in your mind the image of them full. Every seat taken. The sound of 250,000 voices. The smell of that many people in the afternoon sun. The ground trembling slightly with the weight of so much human attention focused on a single point. Then, you let the image go. Let the emptiness come back. The pigeons on the central spine of the track go back to their quiet pecking. The afternoon light falls across the empty oval in long golden stripes. You find a seat in the lower tiers and sit down. The stone is warm from the sun. The city hums quietly beyond the walls of the great stadium. You let your eyes half close. The light is golden, and the stone is warm, and the pigeons move slowly along the spine of the track. And you breathe in and out in the warm, still air of the Roman afternoon. And everything is very, very quiet inside you.
The sun is going down. You can feel it before you can see it. A change in the quality of the light. A warmth in the color of everything around you. As if the city itself has begun to glow softly from within. You are on the Palatine Hill. This is the oldest hill of Rome. The hill where the city began. 3,000 years ago, before the Forum, before the temples, before the aqueducts, before any of it, small groups of people built their huts here, on this height above the river crossing. Simple timber and thatch structures, round, low to the ground, warm in winter, cool in summer. You walk through the imperial gardens that now cover the hill's summit. These gardens were laid out over centuries for the emperors who built their palaces here, looking out over the city they ruled. The gardens are elaborate and extensive, terraced beds of rosemary and lavender and boxwood, long straight paths of pale gravel between hedges clipped into precise geometric shapes, old trees whose canopies have spread over decades into wide, generous shelters of shade. The light through the gardens is extraordinary. The setting sun hits it from the side, so that everything is edged with gold. Every leaf, every stone, every blade of grass catching the light on one edge and throwing a thin, clean shadow from the other. You walk slowly along the garden paths. The gravel shifts softly under your feet. The lavender on either side releases its smell into the evening air, stronger now than it was in the heat of the day, the cooling temperature drawing out its oils. You reach the western edge of the hill, where the gardens end, and the view opens up completely. The city of Rome spreads below you in every direction, bathed in the last golden light of the day. You can see the Forum below, its temples catching the sun on their white columns and throwing it back in long, horizontal flashes. Beyond the Forum, the Colosseum, immense and circular and perfect. Beyond that, the river, picking up the evening gold and carrying it slowly southward. Beyond the river, the Janiculum Hill, its profile dark against the burning western sky.
and the sky itself. The sky above Rome this evening is something almost impossible. Orange at the horizon, burning pure and clean. Above that, pink and rose and copper. Above that, amber, softening toward the first pale violet of evening. And all of it reflected in the Tiber below, so that the city is held between two skies, the real one above and the mirror one in the river, and the buildings in between seem to float in a world made entirely of light. You sit on a low stone wall at the edge of the hill, and you watch. The colors change continuously, never stopping, never repeating, each moment different from the last. The orange deepens, the pink spreads upward, the violet strengthens. The first star appears at the top of the sky, very faint, almost not there, a suggestion of a star more than an actual one. Then another, and another. Below you, the first lamps are being lit in the city. You can see them appearing one by one in the deepening dusk. Small orange points of warmth pricking the gray of the descending evening. First one, then a handful, then dozens, then more than you can count. The city going from gold to gray to lamplit, making its nightly transformation from a city of stone to a city of fire. You sit on the
wall until the sky is fully dark, and the stars are out in their thousands, and the city below is a sea of small flames. Then you walk down from the hill into the night city. The streets at night have a different character than the streets of the day. The crowds are gone. The noise is gone. The purposeful movement that characterizes the Roman daytime, all that directed energy, all that commerce and argument and transaction, has dissolved. What remains is quieter, more private, more personal. The people you pass now are moving more slowly, or standing in doorways, talking in low voices, or sitting on steps, watching the night with the easy attention of those who have nowhere particular to be. You pass a group of men at a corner, throwing dice on a stone step, their voices low and occasional. You pass a woman leaning from a second-floor window, her elbows on the sill, looking out at nothing in particular with a comfortable inward expression. You pass a shrine where someone has left a fresh oil lamp burning, its small flame steady in the still air, its light falling across the carved stone face of a deity whose name you do not know, making that stone face seem almost alive, almost about to speak. You stop and look at it for a moment. The flame is so small, and it has been placed here with such deliberateness. Someone took this lamp and filled it with oil and carried it to the shrine and placed it here and lit it. Someone wanted this corner of the city to have light in the darkness. Someone wanted this god or spirit or whatever presence they believed lived in this carved stone to know they had been remembered. There was something very moving about that. You walk on. The forum is ahead of you. You enter it from the southern end and walk slowly northward through the middle of it. The great open space is entirely empty. The paving stones are pale and smooth in the moonlight. The temples on either side rise in darkness, their columns luminous, their pediments shadowed, their proportions in the moonlight even more beautiful than they are in the day. You walk to the very center of the forum and stop. You turn slowly, a full circle. All of this has happened here. All of Roman history has moved through this space. The great speeches and the small arguments, the triumphs and the disasters, the ordinary days and the extraordinary ones, the days that changed everything, and the days that were simply days. And now it is empty and quiet and very old and very beautiful.
You stand at the center of it and breathe. The moonlight falls on the stones around you. The fountains murmur somewhere at the edges of the forum. The stars move overhead, imperceptibly in their long, slow arcs. You are very small. The world is very old. And that is not frightening at all.
It is late now, very late. The city around you has gone as quiet as it is going to get. The last of the evening conversations have ended. The last lamps have been turned down or blown out. The last footsteps have faded around the last corner. Even the cats that own the nighttime streets have found their places and settled. Just you now, and the stones, and the fountains, and the enormous, patient sky. You find a small taberna near the edge of the forum, one of the last ones still lit. These small street-level shops and taverns are the heartbeat of the Roman street, open from before dawn until late at night, selling food and wine and company to whoever needs it. This one is simple. A long stone counter with holes cut into it, where clay pots sit warm in water. Lentils, chickpeas, spiced wine. A few rough wooden tables inside, lit by 2 or 3 small oil lamps whose flames barely stir. You sit at the table in the corner. The owner brings you a cup of wine without being asked. Dark red, thick, mixed with a little warm water and sweetened with honey and spiced with something you cannot quite name but that is warming and rich and complex. You wrap your hands around the cup. The warmth of it travels up through your palms and into your arms and settles somewhere in the center of your chest. There is one other person in the taberna, an older man at the table nearest the counter. He is not drinking. He is simply sitting, his hands folded on the table in front of him, looking at nothing in particular with the steady, unfocused gaze of a person very close to sleep. He has probably been here since sunset. All evening. He will probably stay until the owner closes, then make his slow way home through the dark streets to whatever bed waits for him. The lamp flame between you barely flickers. The silence in the room is complete and comfortable. You drink your wine slowly. You are not thinking about anything. Nothing requires your attention. There is nothing to solve, nothing to plan, nothing to worry about. Whatever the day held has dissolved. Whatever tomorrow holds has not yet arrived. There is only this room, this table, this cup, this small flame, this old man nodding in his corner, this wine that tastes of honey and dark spices and the long history of a civilization that knew how to sit still. You finish the wine. You sit for a while longer. Then you get up quietly and walk out into the night. The streets are empty, truly, completely empty now. The moonlight makes them look like the streets of a dream, every surface silver and shadow, every corner holding its darkness close. You walk. You are not going anywhere. Or rather, you are going somewhere, but slowly, in the way that the night itself is going somewhere, turning imperceptibly toward morning, moving through the dark hours with a patience that has nothing to prove. You pass the great aqueduct where it enters the city from the east. The stone arches march across the landscape in a long, curving line, each one identical to the last, each one perfectly proportioned, the whole structure somehow both massive and graceful at once. The water runs silently through the covered channel at the top. You cannot see it, but you can hear it if you stand very still. A faint, continuous rushing sound from somewhere far above your head. The sound of water that has been traveling for days from distant mountains and is now arriving at its destination. You put your hand on one of the stones of the arch.
It is cool and very slightly rough. Someone cut this stone. Someone shaped it to fit precisely against the stones beside it and above it and below it. Someone mixed the mortar and laid the courses and built this arch with a precision that has held it in place for 2,000 years. You feel that. The precision, the care, the long human effort concentrated in this stone under your hand. You leave your hand there for a long moment. The water runs overhead. The moonlight makes the arches silver. Then you walk on. The house you return to is dark and quiet when you approach it. The domus, with its painted walls and its central pool and its garden and its small red bedroom waiting at the end of the corridor. The door opens without sound. Inside, the atrium is lit only by the moon coming through the open rectangle in the roof. The pool, the impluvium, catches this moonlight and holds it. A perfect silver square of reflected sky lying still in the middle of the darkened room. You stand at the edge of the pool and look into it. The reflected moon, the reflected stars, all of it perfectly still. You feel perfectly still. You walk down the corridor to your room. It is exactly as you left it. The low bed with its wooden frame and its deep wool blankets. The small oil lamp on the table, burning still, its flame so small it barely illuminates the corner of the room. It's steady, perfectly steady, the flame upright and unwavering, as if it has decided to burn.
This way, and nothing in the world is going to change its mind. The dried figs in the clay bowl, the cup of water, the painted walls, that deep muted rose, warm in the lamplight. And on the wall facing the bed, the painted garden, the dark-leaved trees, the bird on its branch, the suggestion of hills beyond, the painted sky. You eat one fig, sweet and dense and ancient. You drink a small amount of water. Then you lie down. The mattress receives you. The wool blankets are heavy and warm. You pull them up until they cover you completely, and you feel the weight of them pressing down, pressing you gently but firmly into the mattress, into the bed, into the room. You are held. That is the only word for it. You are completely held. The lamp flame does not move. The painted bird does not move. The house is utterly silent. From very far away, through the thick walls of the house, through the sleeping streets of the city, through the warm Roman night, you can hear it. The fountain, the one from the corner near where you walked this morning, still flowing, still pouring its mountain water into its stone basin, still making that soft, continuous sound that is neither music nor silence, but something in between. You have been hearing it all day. You will hear it in your sleep. It will still be there when you wake. The lamp flame trembles. Once, just once. A breath of air from somewhere, so small it barely exists, passing through the room. The flame recovers, straightens, burns on. You close your eyes. The darkness behind your eyelids is very soft, not empty, not blank. Warm and dark and gently textured, the way darkness feels when you touch.
You are safe and warm, and your body is completely comfortable. Your hands are heavy. Your feet are heavy. The back of your head is heavy against the cushion. Your breathing, without you doing anything, has slowed. Each breath
a little deeper than the last. Each exhale a little longer. Your body knows what it is doing. Your body has been doing this every night of your life. It knows the way down. Let it go. Let it take you. You are sinking, not falling, not dropping, sinking. The way warm water rises around you when you step into a deep bath. The way sleep comes when you stop waiting for it. Gently, without effort, without announcement. The lamp burns on. The fountain sings. The painted bird waits on its painted branch in the painted garden on the wall of this small room, in this sleeping house, in this ancient, eternal, breathing city. Rome settles around you like a blanket, like warm stone, like 2,000 years of quiet evenings and lit lamps and people lying down at the end of their days and letting go of everything and sinking into the dark. You are one of them now, one of the countless people who've closed their eyes in this city and felt it breathe around them and let the sound of the fountains carry them down into sleep. Down, down. There is nothing left to do. There is nothing left to think. There is only the warmth and the dark and the sound of water somewhere and the great, patient city breathing slowly in and out around you. Rome will still be here when you wake. The stones will still be warm. The fountains will still be singing. The baker will have his bread in the oven. The birds will be back in the garden. The river will be moving toward the sea. All of it waiting for you, patient and permanent and unchanged on the other side of sleep. But now you sleep. Slowly, gently, completely, like Rome itself, settling into the night. Good night.